As many of you may know, highlighter is one of my favorite makeup products, and over the past few months, I've tried a bunch of new highlight formulas or new shades of existing highlighter formulas. In a few cases, I have eyeshadows that make for great kind of blinding highlights. Some of these formulas are new, while others are simply new to me. And in general, my own personal preference is highlighters that are sort of fun and exciting and tend to be a little bit more on the intense blinding side. So keep that in mind when I'm doing my rating, but I do think I have a good mixture and variety of products here. I'm also going to show demos of each of the formulas that I talk about. So let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with an absolute favorite, this is the Nars Light Reflecting Illuminating Powder, and I have the shade Heavenly. And this formula actually is not new, but it was new to me within the past few months. And I've had a chance to use this a number of times. A lot of people ask me for some good options when it comes to powder highlights that don't have sparkle, and I would really say that this is a great option. This truly is a really blinding highlight, but it doesn't look like it's metallic on the skin, if that makes sense. It just sort of looks wet and reflective, and I absolutely love it. I see the main drawback with this product being how pricey it is. This is around $40, I want to say, or a little over $40. So personally right now, I feel fully content just having one shade. But I gotta say, I definitely recommend this, and I don't have a dupe for this from another brand, to be honest. And I do think that this is going to be permanent in the line as far as I can tell. So if you had thought about it, you could always wait for a sale. Okay, next we have a product from a brand I've talked about quite a number of times on my channel, and this is Joocyee. This is a C-Beauty brand, and it's actually pretty widely available. You can get it at Yes Style, Cbeautymall, Lookhealthystore, even just the Joocyee website. These are multi-purpose glitter jelly sticks, and Joocyee makes honestly one of the best versions of this type of product that I've tried. I also feel like they were the OG brand to do this formula, or at least one of the OG brands. This is the shade Glacier Sheer, and it's actually a new shade to the line. I love the fact that they're padding out this range and doing some more fun and interesting shades in general, and this is a beautiful sheer blue. You can use it as eyeshadow or as highlighter. The different shades have different finishes too, so they have ones that are less sparkly if you would like, but I really love how much impact you get from these. And at under $20, I also really like the price point on these. Again, one of my predictions for going into 2026 is that we were going to see more products from Joocyee in kind of fun and unique shades, so I'm really happy to see that that is the case. Okay, the next product I have is from Wet n Wild, and I actually did a full dedicated video to this new Chameleon Chrome collection, and they came out with new eyeshadows. You can get some of the shades on the Wet n Wild website, but also from Walmart, and 3 out of the 6 of the eyeshadows in this range are iridescents. They are quite intense, and honestly, I really like using these as face highlighters. They do have some emollients to them, so while they may cause some creasing on the eyes, they look beautiful on the cheeks as well. And they retail for $6, so it's super exciting if you are looking for a type of product like this for an affordable price point. I just love to see that we are getting that from a brand like Wet n Wild. Also, if you were somebody that found that the actual highlighters that they have in this collection maybe aren't as intense enough for you, I'd recommend maybe giving these iridescent shadows from the collection a go. Okay, also from Wet n Wild, we have their Chameleon Chrome highlighters. Last year, they came out with 2 shades in this line. They had a blue and a green. And I was so happy to see that they decided to expand this range. So now we have 2 new highlighters. One of them is an orange iridescent. This is called Solar Ember. It also has a kind of fiery tone shift to it. And this one definitely is sparkly, but it's not so sparkly that it doesn't sit well on the face. You can build it up for a slightly higher intensity and opacity if you'd like, or wear it more sheerly by just doing a light dusting with a brush. I also love this formula because you can use it as a sparkly topper on the lids. Iridescent shades are just so incredibly versatile. And I want to say that these highlighters are around $7 or $8. The second new shade to the line is Aurora Glaze. This is a bright, glowy pink iridescent. I think it makes a lot of sense they added a shade like this to the range. I feel like pink highlighter is an incredibly popular shade. I like to apply these to the cheek with a fingertip, but again, you totally can use a brush if that's what you prefer and if you're just going for a light dusting. And these are brand new, so if you haven't been able to get your hands on them yet, I would just kind of wait and see because I do think they're going to be more widely available very soon. Okay, the next formula I want to talk about are these new Super Shock blushes that are from ColourPop as part of the Valentine's collection. There's a total of 3 shades that came out, and honestly, this was my very favorite part of the collection. Just like Super Shock Shadow, it has kind of that bounce in the pan. I actually hadn't tried this formula before, so I was really excited to give it a go. I like that unlike a Super Shock Shadow, these Super Shock blushes don't have sparkle in them, so they sit very smoothly on the skin, and I feel like I like to just forgo a traditional blush and traditional highlighter when I wear these because they give your cheeks a flush and a bit of a glow to them at the same time. Okay, next we have this Super Shock highlighter that was included in the Twilight collection. The shade is called Change Me, and it's a very icy silver. Now, this shade has quite a lot of opacity to it, so if you are applying this to the cheeks, I'd actually recommend using a brush rather than a fingertip like I did in my demo. It's just going to be hard to get it to not look too silver on your cheeks. I have a much easier time using a shade like this as an eyeshadow than a highlighter. So for sure, if you have a skin tone like mine, go in with a super light hand with a brush rather than a fingertip. But honestly, this shade is in general more for people with fairer skin than mine. Those things aside, I gotta say I really do like the Super Shock highlighter and Super Shock blush formula. And I do like that they don't look too overly sparkly on the skin. Okay, next we have an iridescent shadow from Terra. They came out with a very adorable little blue collection. It's all single shadows and includes mattes and shimmers. This is the iridescent shadow called Polar Ion, and I absolutely love using shades like these as highlighters. You can really see how electric this one is. The only thing is that this shade in general is a little bit more textured. You do have to smooth it into the skin with your fingers, but even if you're not going to use a shade like this on the face, they're extremely versatile. And if you haven't tried an iridescent from Terra and you like blinding highlighting shades, I do recommend them. Okay, next we have a palette from Glisten Cosmetics, and I've been playing around with this palette a little bit more for the past couple of months. It's called the Shapeshifter palette, and it's actually not new. It's been around for quite some time, but it is new to me. And I gotta say, I really like the formula in here. The iridescent shadows, they feel smooth, which I find makes them very versatile. And personally, I do love being able to use my iridescent shadows as face highlighters. So if that is a texture that you prefer, I definitely recommend checking this palette out. It is a little bit pricey. I want to say it's around $50, but they often run site-wide sales and you can actually stack codes as well. So with those things together, I feel like you could get it at a deep discount. Okay, now we have a brand new formula. This is the Milk Makeup Jelly Highlight Stick. This is the shade Boba, and I mentioned this in a previous video, but I honestly feel like it makes sense that Milk Makeup is coming out with jelly highlight sticks. I just feel like it's a year too late because a lot of brands have done jelly highlight sticks at this point. So to do them, I feel like you kind of have to stand out a little bit in the sense of the formula that you're providing. And unfortunately, I really didn't find that to be the case here. I actually received these in PR. I wasn't sure I was going to go out of my way to try these, but when I swatched them and tried them on my face, I just felt like they were a little bit lackluster. Now, if you are going for something that's incredibly subtle, I think these could be a good option. But I don't know, I feel like these are kind of marketed to be kind of something that's fun and exciting and glittery. And you really have to build them up to get that impact. And even when you do, I feel like it's just very subtle. I'm not trying to give them a hard time or anything, but I was genuinely hoping that I would try them and be like, oh, okay, they're doing something that is a cut above the other formulas that are out there. That being said, I've been hearing some quite amazing thing about their concealers, and I haven't tried those yet, so I am excited to give those a go. Okay, next we have a highlighter from Kosas, and honestly, Kosas is a brand that I tend to not be too interested in their products. I'm sure they have some good staples, but I did turn my head a little bit when I heard that they had a blue highlighter. So I wanted to give it a go because honestly, we don't have a ton of super exciting highlighter options at Sephora, and I am happy to say that this is a nice highlighter. You get a lot of control with how intense it looks on the skin, so you can definitely build it up if you want. It has an overall pretty smooth appearance. There is some sparkle in it, but it's not a crazy amount, and I find the texture to just be pretty easy to work with. In comparison to indie brands, of course, it's not going to be as intense and blinding, but it is a nice highlighter. And if you prefer being able to shop more mainstream at Sephora, then it is a good option. Okay, last but not least, we have a new to me Cbeautymall brand, and this is called Little Oden. And compared to any of the other Cbeautymall brands that I've tried before, it's definitely the most luxe. Like, you can see that with the packaging and also the price points. But I'm happy to see that the quality of the product is very nice. This is actually a powder highlight, but it's extremely finely milled, as you can see from the swatch, and you can build it up for a little bit more intensity and opacity. If you're somebody who tends to get a little bit intimidated of highlighter or shies away from it, I feel like a product like this would be incredibly approachable. And I do wish that I had a few options like this for a lower price point. So I am going to look around, but if you were keen to try this brand and were curious about what my experience was, so far I am pretty impressed. But you are going to get overall a softer effect than you do compared to a lot of the other brands that I've shown. Okay, now that we've had a chance to go through everything, I would love to hear what you think of some of the highlighter formulas that I showed. Have you tried any of these highlighter formulas or recently tried any that you're really enjoying, either new or old? Definitely let us know in the comments. I'm happy to be back with another one of these style of videos because highlighter is truly one of my favorite types of makeup products, and I do predict seeing a lot more fun and exciting shades and formulas this year. As always, I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.